Things are looking bleak at running back in 2013 in fantasy, so much so that I'd argue you have to take a running back with your first two picks in every league.
Absolutely. I think we're back to that at this point. You don't want to spend your first-round pick on a quarterback because otherwise look at the running backs you're going to get. In that third round when you're trying to get the second one,
it gets ugly quick.
Yes,
it gets ugly quick. I feel like there's more studs this year. You know, last year it felt like after the first three there were like question marks. So I feel like there's at least 10 or 12 guys that you feel pretty good about having as your number one running back. But after that it gets pretty ugly. And the other thing that you have to consider is that look at the depth at the other positions. Tons of good wide receivers out there. Tons of good quarterbacks. There's 5 good tight ends, and if not, they're all the same. So I'm with you. It seems a little bit back to kind of the Stone Age here, but it's almost like you kind of got to go running back this year.
In a 10-team league, I kind of want to pick 10th.
Yeah, because it's 12 running backs, 10 to 12 running backs.
Yeah, I kind of feel like at least I know I probably can get 2 number 1 fantasy backs picking 10 and 11. Whereas if I'm picking 4th, if I'm picking 5th, that first one's going to be awfully good. It's going to be Ray Rice, Doug Martin, somebody like that. And then it's going to be DeMarco Murray, Darren McFadden, Chris Ivory.
Right.
I don't know what it's going to be.
By the time you get to your flex running back or your third running back, it's ugly. You're taking chances with all these guys. Anybody over the other guys that you like a little bit here? Is there a Murray type, an injury risk here that you want to take a chance on, or a rookie as a third running back?
You know, I was going to say before you went to third running back, I was going to say MJD. I think
I was just about to say MJD.
MJD is my second-round pick of choice if I can get him, because I think he's going to be wind up being undervalued in drafts because he was disappointing last year. There's a lot of agita about whether he was going to hold out. He didn't wind up holding out. There was a lot of agita about the Jags offense being terrible with Blaine Gabbert. It kind of was. Then he gets hurt. There's a sense that maybe this injury is going to linger. I don't think this is a lingering type injury. Entering a contract year, a very, very talented player. I think he's going to be undervalued in most drafts.
What I want to do in terms of roster construction, like in a 10 or 12 team league, is I want one quarterback, which is easy to do. I'm going to want one tight end. Either I'm going to get one of the elite guys or I'm just going to wait and I'll play the matchups, right? And then the rest of them are as many running backs and wide receivers as I can, with an emphasis on running backs, because I'm going to try to play that lottery ticket game. Because we know this happens every single year because of the turnover at the position. There will be the no Sean Morenos of the world, the Doug Martins, you know, who well outpaced where he was drafted last year. There will be guys like the Alfred Morrises of the world that sort of pop. And so we don't know who they're going to be, but give me as many of those lottery tickets as I can so that when one of them pops, I've got a better shot that they're on my roster as opposed to somebody else's.
Who are we targeting in point per reception leagues? There's some running backs who do catch passes.
Sure.
Last year, obviously, the best guy was Darren Sproles. Sproles seems a little underrated to me. Every year he puts up numbers.
Yeah, in a point per reception league, I think Sproles is pretty obviously a top 10 back. He's been that consistent for as long as he's been in New Orleans.
Reggie Bush gets into the top 10 this way.
Sure. Even in standard leagues, though, Darren Sproles, very, very valuable, maybe a little undervalued. It's just non-traditional. Other point per reception guys, you know, think about Jamal Charles, because Andy Reid is now as offensive coordinator. That might turn into fewer carries, but more receptions. I think you are looking at a 50 to 60 catch season. And like you said, Reggie Bush, you know, when 144 targets to run to lesser receiving running backs, the Joique Bells of the world last year, Reggie Bush is going to get some of that sweet action.
How much do you discount the running backs who don't catch passes? We've been talking about this for years with Michael Turner. Your guy, Alfred Morris in Washington, only had 16 targets all last year.
Yeah, I think it depends on the team and the running back. I don't think you can make kind of a blanket rule that says, like, I'm not touching this or I am doing this. In the case of Alfred Morris, like, he's going to get 350 carries. Like, I don't care that he's not in on third down because he's going to get enough work because, listen, the Redskins run the ball. They had the second most running plays compared to passing plays of any team in the NFL last year. Double-digit touchdowns for Alfred Morris. I think they will actually run Morris more this year because they don't want RG3 to run as much when they get in close, I think, Morris. So I'm not worried about the fact that Morris doesn't catch passes. There are other guys that I would be concerned about that. Like Michael Turner is a guy because if he's not falling into the end zone with the Falcons, which he's not doing anymore, like, you need as many touches as you can. So I think it depends on the situation.
3 rookies were great last year at running back. Any rookies that we see maybe being top 20 this year that we should look at?
I don't think top 20 necessarily, but Monte Ball might get up to that point. I think that's the upside. If you could get him in, say, the 4th round or so, this is the guy you pick as your flex option instead of your number 2, I'd be comfortable with that. Otherwise, I don't know that you're going to want to spend that early round pick.
Yeah, but I think we have Ball rated as a top 20 back, and so you might not be able to get him as a flex. You might have to get him as your number 2 if you're behind the times on a running back. But I think that might work out okay. I like high upside players. David Wilson would be somebody who might not pop, might lose a lot of touchdowns to Andre Brown, but if he does pop, C.J. Spiller kind of upside.
I'll say Lamar Miller. I think the opportunity is there for him. I don't believe in Daniel Thomas. We'll see what they do with the rookie there, but I actually think Lamar Miller in that offense has a real shot at doing something nice this year.
The guy, I think, Isaiah Pead. I think he's got a chance at grabbing that job in St. Louis with Steven Jackson gone. He's another one that you could wait several rounds on. Has a decent amount of upside, I think, as a flex.
All right, last year, Darren McFadden, obviously Ryan Matthews. These guys have not performed. DeMarco Murray. Anything here that you're looking at?
Darren McFadden would be somebody I would take a chance on because I've seen him in this offensive scheme. In the 1 year where he stayed relatively healthy, he produced huge numbers. So if I'm going to take a chance on any of those 3 guys, it's probably him. It's not Ryan Matthews, who had more broken collarbones last year than touchdowns.